on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm holding up the glass. I'm working on the beat. It's a true foundation. I'm
Welcome to the Under Construction Podcast. Join us as we discuss various topics meant to challenge our current ways of thinking. Like, comment, and subscribe on all social platforms. I'd like to give a shout out to Royal Soul Productions and also Glory House Church, live in location. Fellas, this is going to be a good conversation, I believe. The pressure to be the breadwinner. The pressure to be the breadwinner. I think as men, we all feel that pressure. But before we get into it, let's introduce the crew. We got KJ, we got AJ, and I'm T-Dub.
Yes, sir.
How do we remove the pressure felt by being the breadwinner?
I mean, first off, I think you start to remove the carnality of it, you know, and go right back to our last episode, and make sure you incorporate faith, because I mean, like, some of this pressure is natural,
Right.
you know, pressure makes diamonds.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, you know, if you want your family to shine, you do what you gotta do, and it'll be
Absolutely.
cool. But in the same token, don't be too hard on yourself,
Absolutely.
and that's why I say, like, you know, don't let the pressure overcome you.
I think the pressure to be the breadwinner is an interesting topic, because it's really based in our thought process. It's based in what societal beliefs have said men are supposed to be, and what a leader looks like, what strength looks like. But I believe we talked about it on different pods, like understanding like what it means to lead, to still lead, but understand like, all right, maybe somebody else is better off in this position. Like, all right, if I'm working 3 or 4 jobs, 5 jobs to be the breadwinner, but my wife is in the position where she can work one and sustain us. Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm any less of a man because I'm not doing what I can to keep up with her. Like, I can still add to the collective, us as a family. I can still do things and still lead, from being not necessarily the breadwinner, but being the leader in this house, and understanding that putting each person in their best position.
That's a valuable point. In current days, easier said than done.
Absolutely.
I think the choice of partner starts to come up in my mind because in order to do that, you have to have the right person
Yes.
as your helpmate.
Yes, you do.
Lord.
You know,
Lord.
because there's a place in society now where, you know, men can never do enough.
Right.
You know, and our main value is put on our wallets,
Right.
and how much money we bring in, not on the type of person we are, the type of leader we are, the type of encourager we are,
Yeah.
the type of cheerleader we can be, the type of decision making that we have, right? And as a leader, I think all of those things hold as much value and as much weight
Right.
as how much my yearly salary is.
Right.
Yes, it does.
But, you know, when we look at society in its current state, we always seem to see that women are focused on how much a man makes. You know, they're always talking about the 6 feet tall, 6 figures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of that stuff is surface stuff, though. You
No
know what I mean?
romance
Like,
without finance.
yeah, and I truly believe that. I do truly believe that. But if that's all that you're looking for, I think you're missing out on the totality of what men are.
That's
and
true.
what we can provide.
Very true.
I think it's short-sighted.
Well, no, I agree. I agree. It definitely goes into the selection process. I know KJ brings this up a lot, but I believe you got to put yourself in the best position. You have to, and it's a humbling thing, because as men, like, I want to be the breadwinner. Like, it's not really a matter of if I can be. I want to be. So, like, I'm probably gonna put myself in an early grave trying
Yeah, come hella high water. I'm gonna
right,
get to it.
trying to do something that maybe God is not telling me I need to do. Maybe He's telling me to develop in other areas.
But I
Maybe
think-
He's
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Maybe He sees something in me that I can use. That maybe later on I will go back to being the breadwinner. But
Yeah.
I have to develop right now.
Mm.
Like maybe this is just a season, and we have to be willing to trust what God is saying. However, it comes at a humbling price because
100%.
people are going to see you.
Absolutely. I like the fact that you said that it could be seasonal, right?
Yes.
Because we live in New England, right?
Yeah.
And although we see all the trees that have no leaves on it, are those trees dead?
Not at
They're
all.
not. They're not, right? They're just waiting for the right season
Yeah.
to warm up so
That's
that the
it.
sap can flow freely,
Talk to
right?
'em, cuz.
So that we can get back to the leaves.
Right,
you know what
right,
I mean?
right.
And then they'll flourish again, right? And we'll get the shade and the enjoyment.
Exactly.
And we'll hear them rustling in the wind, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But if we're not in the right season, we could think that it's dead, right?
Patience.
Yeah.
Don't think something's don't write something off too quick.
Right. I mean, well, the Bible talks about patience. It says, allow patience to have her perfect work in you. And that means, like, there's some things that we're going to have to wait for. There's some things that we're going to need to develop patience in order to get there. You're going to need patience to see your wife maybe being the breadwinner, patience to believe that God is going to do something for you and that's going to do something for her, but also patience to believe that God did provide a way, that He does have a plan for you, like He said in His word, that He desires for you to have a future and a hope,
Right.
that He wants you to be the lender and not the borrower. Like, you have to have the patience to believe, like, all right, God's going to take me from point A to point X where I want to be. And it might, like I said in the last episode, it might not be the easiest road to get to.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got to have their opinion.
And I mean, I think when we talked about that, that feeling of like how men are valued or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, well, like I give the ladies a little bit of grace and say it's also how we value ourselves.
Very true. Very true.
So the traditional cookie cutter thought process of like, okay, he's going to be the breadwinner, I'm going to be the backup, and add some supplemental income to the situation. It like that throws a pebble in the calm waters that you thought was the household you were setting up.
Right.
So now, not only you're like, am I being respected as the leader? Because
Right.
that comes with the leadership to be the breadwinner. And then so it's not, both of you are questioning this thing. She may be willing to support you. And like her regular, like, you said you and your lady was just joking around with each other the other day.
Yeah.
Her regular jokes seem different because you feel away.
Yeah.
Internally.
Sting a little bit
So
more.
now you like, are you coming at me?
Right,
Meanwhile,
right.
she's not. That's just y'all regular banter.
Yeah.
Right.
But now you taking offense because
Sure.
of a subtle insecurity at the moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I
that
mean?
was the exact word I was going to use. It's an insecurity for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Finance is big though.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Tough conversations for me. I'm not gonna front. I
the
hate talking about
responsibility that comes with being the breadwinner and supporting your family, making sure that they're living to the status that you want or that they feel is acceptable.
Yeah.
But what is that status? Is it truly attainable? You know, is there stewardship there? I heard something that someone was saying. If you're not in the financial place to take care of yourself with savings for 6 months, that you're probably living over your means.
I've heard that before.
Makes sense.
So we at times could be working to have a lifestyle that's above what it necessarily needs to be
Yeah.
for other people.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
For sure. And I believe that it does go right back to stewardship, bro. I mean, it's so important because there's nothing wrong with ambition,
Right?
but there's also nothing wrong with moderation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Too much of anything could be a problem.
Bad thing.
Right.
for
And
sure.
I think that, you just got to be willing to understand that, okay, when it's enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? Go ahead.
So that goes into the Bible talks about that too. Paul talks about being content. I've learned to be content in all things. I've learned how to be brought high and brought low. I've learned how to be content and being broke and rich, like different like seasons of life, because there's going to be times when I'm not in the best spot, and I'm going to have to live with that. And I don't want it to be like, all right, God, you were there when I was being blessed, but now that I'm in this drought, I feel like God's disappeared.
I think the fear is that content can look like complacent sometimes,
It's true.
and no one wants to be complacent.
Yeah.
Very true.
So it's like no one wants to settle.
Yeah, nah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely agree because I'm not complacent. I'm trying to go somewhere. Like, I got goals. I got ambition. Like, I'm trying to make some moves. But at the same time, I also have to recognize that this may not be my season. Like, a caterpillar doesn't just up and become a butterfly. Like, it has to go through that larva process. And that larva process, it can't do nothing. It can wiggle a little bit, but that's it. Like, it's just constrained. And I know earlier in the last episode we talked about pressure makes diamonds. Diamonds go through the same thing. They go through a heated process, and then they're crushed, like to remove the diamond from the coal.
Right.
So like there's a process, and in that process there's a lot of restriction. There's not a lot of movement. So like if we feel restricted and we're not able to get to these places or not able to position ourselves the way that we once would, maybe God is trying to develop something in us, and He needs us to stay in this spot. So like, you got braids in your hair. You know when you getting your hair braided, the person that's braiding your hair like, yo, don't move. Like this part, you can't move. You got to
That's
be
a fact.
like, if you want this line to be straight, you can't move.
That's a fact.
Stay straight and just don't move your head. Don't tilt. Same thing like
Same
getting
at
the
the
fresh
barber.
cut. Right, fresh cut.
Yeah.
I'm doing your lineup. Yo, don't move.
Yeah. Yeah.
Firm hand on your head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah. But I think too, when it comes to leadership and finances, I think there's also times where we have to understand that we need to lean things out.
Of course.
And what I mean by that is like trimming the fat.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we have to be reflective and we have to look at our financial situation and say, what can I cut back on here? You know, how many subscriptions do I have?
Right.
Do I need to put premium gasoline in my vehicle every week?
Right,
You know,
right.
maybe I could switch off every other week, right? Maybe I need to start shopping at Aldi for some of my purchases. You know,
Yeah.
maybe I need to go pick up food if I'm going to go out and stop doing a DoorDash, right?
Right,
All
right,
of
right,
these
right.
things, you know, make up the financial losses that we take, but we're so accustomed or we're so comfortable.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We
we're
live-
doing those things, and we don't want to get away from doing those things. But if we're in a season where we need to trim the fat,
Right.
those are little places that will add up over time if we look at those things consistently.
Yeah, we live in an abundance of luxury, and
Yeah.
and convenience is one of those luxuries.
Yeah.
So when you speak to door dashing and things of that nature, it's like, yo, bro, like I had a situation where some of the things at work got a little bit more oh, it's better to not run off for a lunch break, but it's better to get it delivered. You know, $20 little pizza that I might
Right,
run
right.
down the block to Domino's might have got double the price for the delivery.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? But but there's a cost to convenience.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, like you said lean out, but I'd say the importance of discipline.
Yes.
Discipline. You know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
it's funny that like the word is so close, but when discipleship. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just like making sure that you're actually like focusing
Yeah.
and looking at. I'm telling you, bro. Like once you guys started talking about stewardship, like that's literally like the title for me for this season of my life.
That's
It's
dope.
like, yo, man, I've had like I work hard, so I'm not ashamed to say that, like, you know, for my line of work, I'm gainfully employed. But, you know, I am ashamed.
Right.
But I don't mind being honest with it to say that I should have more to show for how hard I've worked.
I hear you.
And
Me too.
I know that at this point, it's not that I'm not working hard enough. It's not that I'm not working smart enough though.
Yes.
And I have to work smarter. And that comes with money management as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Liking nice things can't be the end all be all.
I hear
You
you.
know what I mean? You got to be able to like really like lock in and be better about the way you've been blessed.
I think
Yeah.
what T-Dub is saying, like, we have to be humble. You have to. There's a line of humility that has to go by in order to do that self-examination, to understand, like, all right, yo, I've kind of been overspending. Like, what I tell people to do, humbling thing, if you really want to get to it when it comes to finance, build a budget.
Yeah.
Start looking at what you're spending money on. Start looking at what you spend throughout the week, throughout the month, and just to look and to see. Like, DoorDash gets expensive. Like, I'm a DoorDash person.
Yeah.
Same thing, convenience. Like, it's just easy. They'll come right to you. But realistically, you probably pay for the meal 3 times over. Like, just
100%.
call a spade a spade. And understanding that, like, all right, I was in a place of abundance before, because that's a lot of time. Well, that's what at least it was for me. Because I was in a place of abundance, I could do certain things. I could afford to make certain purchases and stuff like that. But when things shifted and things changed, I had to re-look at the budget, because sometimes you got to re-budget. You got to look at it again, like, hold on, something changed. Money ain't going as long as it used to. So I got to start looking at, all right, what am I doing? And then how do I still position ourselves to get the things that we need? Going back to what you said last episode, the difference between needs and wants.
Yo, I got a detour.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Is the breadwinner in a relationship? Because I know in corporate, like a majority vote is a majority vote.
Yep.
You got 51% of this. You own
Oh, that's you.
51%.
That's
Oh,
you.
yeah. It's your decision.
In a relationship, is a breadwinner automatically a controlling vote?
Oh,
I personally don't think so.
Me either.
I value my partner, and I value her thought process.
Talk to
and her
him.
process isn't always my process.
I love
Right.
it.
So I value that. But I think, well, I know in my relationship that I hold the final decision.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that my partner also knows that her position is valuable to me. So I
that's
always
good.
want to know what her thoughts are.
right.
Because
what I mean?
her thoughts are incorporated in your final decision.
Absolutely. Because I'm not so egocentric or ego driven that if she has a better idea than me, that I still have to go with my idea.
That's it.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because she's my helpmate. She's there to help me to process. She's here to help make my house a home, right?
beautiful,
I
bro.
can bring home a steak, but she's gonna make it into a meal for me.
beautiful.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I value what she brings.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I have to listen intentionally to what she's saying so that I can add her value to
Yes.
my thought process.
Right.
Right.
Yo, I love
and then
that you
I'm
said
going
that.
and then I'm gonna make the final decision, but I'm gonna make that decision based collectively on all the information that's present.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I can
My
only
man.
see it from my perspective.
Exactly.
So she's gonna give me a totally different perspective. Now I can make a decision that's well rounded.
Right.
Man, I wanted. Yo, I'm so happy I don't even have to say nothing to that because that's the perfect answer in my opinion. And like, I wanted all the ladies to hear an answer like that. Because see, the thing is like, when we talk about leadership,
Yeah.
Right.
it's often thinking that you're relinquishing power. Or you're
Right.
relinquishing the keys to your life to let someone else completely drive. And it's not that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's no. Your plan's incorporated in this plan.
Right.
You're
Absolutely.
a part of this. You're very much so a part of this.
Right,
You're
right.
very important. Never feel that you're not.
Yeah.
And never feel that I'm diminishing or devaluing you because maybe I bring in X and you bring in Y.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? That's not what this is about.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's about what's going to put us in the best position. Like just because you're the breadwinner doesn't mean that you're good with money. Like
Oh,
that's
that's a beautiful detour right there. That's a beautiful
Like,
detour.
I can make $2 million, but if I also spend 3, like I'm in the
You're
hole for a mill.
dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that 2 was cool, but you spending crazy.
It's
Like,
not what you make, it's what you keep.
right.
Talk to him.
Listen, very true. So like,
Yeah.
it's got to be what's going to put us in the best position to succeed. And you got, as a good leader, it is important to hear the opinions and concerns of the people that are with you. Like you got to hear from them, because if you don't, like you'll put yourself in a detriment from something that could have been avoidable.
Yo, say that again.
So like I got you. So like, if you're a leader and you have people that are with you, they're walking with you, they're doing the things with you, they're trying to build you up, they're trying to put your each other in the best position. You have to hear from them in order to get to where you're trying to go. Because if you don't, you won't be able to miss something. I'm messing it up, but you'll hit something that could have been avoidable.
Yeah.
And
That's real.
that's poor leadership. Like,
Yeah.
if I knew, if the captain steering the boat, Titanic, would have seen the iceberg first, he could have moved out the way. Titanic wouldn't be a movie. It wouldn't be this big thing. Like, there wouldn't have been any of this if somebody would have been like, yo, or maybe one of the musicians seen it. It was like, yo, what's that over there? You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Right.
somebody that was waiting tables was like, yo, don't that look funny? You know what I'm saying? But if the captain's like, yo, nah, we good. Like, we go this way every time. Like, everything's always good this way. They never take a moment to self-examine or to say, all right, let me deal with the concerns of my people. Then you'll hit something that could have been avoidable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think that, we're talking about being a breadwinner, but we're also talking about leadership.
Absolutely.
And I think a leader needs to be a fully developed individual.
Yes.
Whether that's a work leader, a relationship leader, a household leader, a church leader, they need to have development.
Yes.
Right? And when you're developed, that means you have skills in a number of different areas. Right? So, the best leaders I've found have been good followers.
Yes.
You don't
That's it.
have to have the ability to lead always. You can develop those skills, right? But when you're developing those skills, you're learning different things about yourself in different spaces. So there's a level of development that's important when it comes to leadership. Can you listen?
Right.
Can you understand that there's value in the people that you choose to spend your time with, or why are you spending time with them in general?
Right.
If I'm around these people and they're telling me things, if I don't value the people and the things that they're saying, why am I
What's the point?
here with you in the first place?
Right.
Right.
So if I'm around my circle and they're telling me things, can I take that in? Can I
Yeah.
process that? Can I think about it? I don't have to go with what you're saying, but can I at least take the time to say, you know what? That's a valid point.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
That doesn't mean that I want to take 95 south to get to Atlanta.
Right,
There's
right.
multiple routes to get there,
Right.
but I understand that is a route that I can take to get there.
Yes,
that may not
sir.
be my route,
Right.
but I hear you.
Yeah.
That's a solid
You know what I'm
concern.
saying?
Right. Well, it's just help. It's helpful. Like, all right, like we always talk about backseat drivers. We always talk about we talk about the different. I think KJ had brought up the different seats in the car from something you had told him, or the different seats on like a van or a bus. Like the person that sits next to you,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the
Right.
navigate, like the backup
Gotcha.
navigator. And
Right,
then
right.
one person got snacks and stuff like that. But like, if you understand each person has a role and plays a role, and I understand that I put you in this position because you're good at this. Like, it would behoove me to not hear you when you tried to tell me something about your position.
That's it.
Like, I gotta take inventory and say, hey, I trusted them enough to say you can do this, to walk with me in this life, to help me. And now I also have to trust them again to say, you know what, their concerns are valid. Let me figure out what I can do to put us in the best position. Or maybe they have an idea that's going to put us in the best position. And it's not my idea, but it makes sense. It works.
And you know what I would say? I say while this conversation naturally flows between breadwinner and leadership, the pressure of being the breadwinner is to know that not only the bread is valuable,
That's good.
like you talked about the management of finances in
Right.
the household.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's make it corporate. Like, you may be the top earner at the company and you sell a product.
Yep.
Just because you're the top owner, you're not the accountant.
Right.
You don't manage the money that comes in.
Right,
That's
right.
someone else's job.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you take that and apply that to the household, you could be terrible with money but make the most.
Yeah.
Right.
And the fact that that other partner is the person that makes it stretch and they make it shake, they got a value.
Yeah.
Big value.
You know what I'm
Big
saying?
value. Absolutely.
Like, cause you making this 100K.
If you want to
Look
keep
like-
buying these nice things,
You making this 100K look like 200,
Right.
And I'm gonna make this 100 look like 80 with my habits.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
like-
Absolutely. Because some people are spenders and some people are savers, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if they have the ability to take that and stretch it, right? What if they're stewarding 20% of yours? You know what I'm saying, and putting it away so that when you have a drought or a dry season, you have some place you can put your bucket down in the well and say,
Right.
you know what, this is what
got a little bit
this
stored.
is what I've been doing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Move some things around.
I'm able to pull from this pot. You know what I mean? Because we were so blessed in another space.
They created a rainy day fund, and they done figured out how to do some afterpay, so we can still get a little bit of what we all like. So everybody's
Right.
still shining the way you think, but in your head, you like, well, if I got it, I'm gonna just buy it, and then you mess around and go to buy the thing that you would have put on afterpay, or that you would have put on credit,
Right,
and not
right.
have nothing in savings.
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for holding us down, because now when I hear, oh, we did a layoff. Oh, I didn't know we had 6 months of savings. Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
For real, for real. Listen,
And it's important. It's definitely important.
and you're gonna need it. Like it's detrimental. It's detrimental to your relationship. It's detrimental to anything you're trying to build. Like, because there's gonna be a rainy day. Something's not gonna go your way. It's not always gonna be perfect. It's not always gonna be kisses and hugs and rainbows. Like, things are gonna come up against you. There's going to trials and tribulations, as the Bible calls them, are going to happen. There's gonna be things that cause you strife, things that cause you stress that you're gonna have to be ready for. And that's why the Bible says to prepare yourself, for we know not the time nor the hour when the Son of Man comes. Like, we don't know. Stuff's just gonna happen. Like, and a lot of times stuff happens after we make that decision. Like, yo, I know I really shouldn't buy those shoes. I really shouldn't buy XYZ, but I'm feeling it. I'm gonna grab it. You grab it. And all of a sudden, something happens. Your child breaks their leg. You got to pay for doctor bills. Fridge goes out. Something happens with the car. The car is always, listen, car is good. Car is good for a couple thousand.
Yeah.
The car good for
Yeah.
failing you when you need it most.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank
That
thank
part.
God for when it don't.
Thank God I got 4 pair of Yeezys though.
Oh yeah. No, we're gonna ride these all the way up the street.
Stupid.
About to put some mileage on those. See how that works out for
Look
you.
at the wheels.
Oh man, I enjoy these conversations with you guys so much, man. They add such value. They get me to think. They get me to share some of my thoughts and ideas, and I appreciate that so much
Yes, sir.
by being able to have these conversations and share these things, and hopefully the audience gets to benefit from them as well.
Yes.
I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. Reach out to Royal Soul Productions for any of your production work. And
Yeah.
also come check out Glory House Church, 2 Orange Street, Sundays at
Yeah.
10 a.m.?
Yeah.
You know, appreciate the live location. We're blessed. You know, we have a lot of
Yes,
good
sir.
people in our midst, and you know, we just want to share a little bit of the knowledge and the thoughts that we have with the rest of you, and we hope you find some benefit in that. And as we always say on this pod, keep building.
Keep building.
I'm working on the building. It's a 2,000 days.